Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. The Arsenal women just defeated Brighton and Hove Albion 4-0 away from home in the League Cup. I think it's a game that we are always expected to win, so we played a somewhat rotational lineup to start the game. It's nice to see Zinsberger get a start because I think that Van Domselaar's pretty much made the position her own now. She's now fairly consistently been our number one. Zinsberger's getting older now. She fought off some challenges to her position before, but it seems this time she has now been relegated to the second string goalkeeper, which is a shame for her, but I mean, that's what happens. You get older and other players move in. I'm glad she's still getting to start. The same cannot be said for Katie Reed and Rosa Kafaji. They also got starts when they don't usually for different reasons. They're both very young and hopefully will get more starting time in the future. But again, both as very young players aren't necessarily regulars in the team yet. So it's nice to see all those guys start. Um, I don't know how much that contributed to our struggles in the game because there were still some fairly regular players in there. Um, I mean, Brighton played their game plan fairly well. Arsenal didn't really seem to have that much of a punch in attack in the first half. There was one bit where Brighton made a pretty bad error that gave the ball right to Cooney Cross, uh, just outside the box, but also no one really between her and the goalkeeper. But then she shot it straight at the goalkeeper, and I feel like she could have done better with that shot. That was our only really good opportunity, I think, in the first half. Uh, and at well, not at halftime, but pretty soon after the restart for the second half, Emily Fox was subbed on and Caldente. And I think Fox especially is pretty good for our creativity, and she helped out a bit. Arsenal eventually did find the breakthrough, and once they'd gotten one goal, they got two more in minutes. Um, it was another Brighton error that led to the first goal for Arsenal, but then the second goal had some really delightful passing uh, to find Katie McCabe in the middle for a goal, and then Cooney Cross, who I just criticized for not capitalizing as well as she could have on a Brighton error before, I'd say redeemed herself with a really nice finish for a third goal, and then it was fairly clear we were going to win this game. But Brighton did um, put some pressure on us. They didn't quite just hang back and defend. I do think they did decently well, even though I don't know if they ever actually looked that threatening. And that's been a constant assurance under Slagers is that our defense is really good, and I can't remember too many times where we've even really looked like we were going to concede. So even though Brighton had a few attacking opportunities, um, they never really managed to look threatening. And I've said that a few times about the Arsenal women, um, about the men as well, but they've been caught on the break a lot more recently. But that's pretty nice to see. In some ways, Zinsberger and Van Domselaar both have a fairly easy job right now because our defense is doing a very good job with it. I also had a bit of a confidence in the first half, even when we weren't scoring goals, that eventually something was going to come, which is just a nice position to be in as a fan when your club has done this enough that you have the assurance that they're going to score and you can feel confident about that. That's quite a nice thing, and the goals did come. Uh, the fourth goal is kind of an error on Brighton's part, and then just a nice finish, I believe, from Caldente, if I remember right. One thing that I could bring up that's worrying, although not too much right now, but against Crystal Palace, it took us a while to get going, and it was in the second half we really broke ahead, and that's the same thing that happened tonight. And should that become a habit, that's not necessarily a sustainable way to win football games, is uh, like switching on the second half. But I've only noticed it twice, and also still scored 4 and 5 goals in the last two games. So that's just me looking for it's always good to see where we can improve, I think, but I'm not too worried about that just yet. So that puts us through to the semifinals of the League Cup and a home game against Manchester City. It'd be really nice to win the League Cup again. And I mean, Chelsea is almost certainly going to be in the final. They have a very easy route there, and I don't think West Ham's going to give them much of a threat, especially away from home. Uh, there's a very real opportunity we get a third consecutive Chelsea versus Arsenal final. Although Manchester City is also very good. We have the advantage of playing them in London, though. So we'll see if we can reach the final again. We've got a decent chance to. We're definitely on the harder route to the final. Chelsea's just been gifted a really easy route to the final. Uh, Manchester City got the revenge on Man United, and it'll be an interesting game. Uh, Man City is one of the games that Slagers hasn't played yet, and it'll be interesting to see how she does against a team like them. She did well against Man United and Bayern Munich, though, so I'm fairly uh, excited still. And now we head into a game against Chelsea, which, if we want any chance at winning the title, we basically have to win. Chelsea's been just about perfect. I think they've drawn one game in the WSL and won every single other game. So, if we want any chance at winning the WSL, we have to beat Chelsea. Um, but right now, the way we're playing, I feel like we can beat anyone. So I'm really enjoying watching Arsenal right now, and I'm happy to see what we can do. Chelsea might be a step too far. They're probably now the second best team in Europe behind Barcelona. Um, but I don't know. I feel just a little bit of confidence just because of how well we've been playing, and that's a nice thing, you know?